Hey crew, it is Pitt and I am back with some more philosophy. Today we are diving back into the works of Mr. Friedrich Nietzsche. This is Thus Spake Zarathustra. We are in part 3. We are reading aloud and discussing as we go along. It's not the format for everybody, but some people seem to get some enjoyment out of it, so we're going to continue. Before we begin, however, if you are unfamiliar with me, any of my unconventional beliefs, or if at any point in time you get lost in the sauce and have no idea what the terminology means, I have several playlists that are linked in this corner up here in the box down below, along with the source material, so that you can get a better understanding of me, who I am, and why I believe the way that I do. Anything that is pertinent, I will try to remember to point up to you and let you know. With that being said, we are going to dive back into part 3. We should be able to finish up part 3 today, even if we have to go a little bit long. Yesterday was a very long one chapter, and hopefully none of these are the same, but I do believe we are getting close to the end, and so we should be able to finish up. This is 57, The Convalescent. One morning, not long after his return to the cave, Zarathustra sprang up from his couch like a madman, crying with a frightful voice and acting as if someone still lay on the couch who did not wish to rise. Zarathustra's voice also resounded in such a manner that his animals came to him frightened, and out of all the neighboring caves and lurking places, all the creatures slipped away, flying, fluttering, creeping, or leaping, according to their variety of foot or wing. Zarathustra, however, spake these words. Up, abysmal thought out of my depth, I am thy cock and morning dawn. Thou overslept reptile, up, up, my voice shall soon crow thee awake. Unbind the fetters of thine ears, listen, for I wish to hear thee. Up, up, there is thunder enough to make the very graves listen. And rub the sleep and all the dimness and blindness out of thine eyes. Hear me also with thine eyes. My voice is a medicine even for those born blind. And once thou art awake, then shalt thou ever remain awake. It is not my custom to awake great-grandmothers out of their sleep, that I may bid them sleep on. Thou stirrest, stretchest thyself, wheezest. Up, up, not wheeze shalt thou, but speak unto me. Zarathustra called thee Zarathustra, the godless. I, Zarathustra, the advocate of the living, the advocate of suffering, the advocate of the circuit, thee do I call, my most abysmal thought. Joy to me, thou comest, I hear thee, mine abyss speaketh, my lowest depth have I turned over into the light. Joy to me, come hither, give me thy hand. Ha! Let it be. Ha! Disgust, disgust, disgust. Alas, to me. 2. Hardly, however, had Zarathustra spoken these words when he fell down as one dead, and remained long as one dead. When, however, he again came to himself, he was pale and trembling, and remained lying. And for long he would neither eat nor drink. This condition continued for 7 days. His animals, however, did not leave him day nor night, except that the eagle flew forth to fetch food. And what it fetched and foraged it laid on Zarathustra's couch, so that Zarathustra at last lay among yellow and red berries, grapes, rosy apples, sweet-smelling herbage, and pine cones. At his feet, however, 2 lambs were stretched, which the eagle had with difficulty carried off from their shepherds. At last, after 7 days, Zarathustra raised himself upon his couch, took a rosy apple in his hand, smelt it, and found it smell pleasant. Then did his animals think the time had come to speak unto him. O Zarathustra, they said, now hast thou lain thus for 7 days with heavy eyes. Wilt thou not set thyself again upon thy feet? Step out of thy cave, the world waiteth for thee as a garden. The wind playeth with heavy fragrance, which seeketh for thee, and all brooks would like to run after thee. All things long for thee, since thou hast remained alone for 7 days. Step forth out of thy cave, all things want to be thy physician. Did perhaps a new knowledge come to thee, a bitter, grievous knowledge? Like leavened dough layest thou, thy soul arose and swelled beyond all bounds. O mine animals, answered Zarathustra, talk on thus, and let me listen. It refresheth me so to hear your talk. Where there is talk, there is the world as a garden unto me. How charming it is that there are words and tones. Are not words and tones rainbows and seeming bridges twixt the eternally separated? To each soul belongeth another world. To each soul is every other soul a back world. Among the most alike doth semblance deceive most delightfully, for the smallest gap is the most difficult to bridge over. For me, how could there be an outside of me? There is no outside. But this we forget on hearing tones. How delightful it is that we forget. Have not names and tones been given unto things that man may refresh himself with them? It is a beautiful folly, speaking, therewith danceth man over everything. How lovely is all speech and all falsehoods of tones! With tones danceth our love on variegated rainbows. O Zarathustra, said then his animals, to those who think like us, things all dance themselves. They come and hold out the hand and laugh and flee and return. Everything goeth, everything returneth. Eternally rolleth the wheel of existence, everything dieth. Everything blossometh forth again, eternally runneth on the year of existence. Everything breaketh, everything is integrated anew, everything buildeth itself the same house of existence. All things separate, all things again greet one another. Eternally true to itself remaineth the ring of existence. Every moment beginneth existence. Around every here rolleth the ball there. The middle is everywhere. Crooked is the path of eternity. O ye wags and barrel organs, answered Zarathustra, and smiled once more. How well do you know what had to be fulfilled in 7 days? And how that monster crept into my throat and choked me, but I bit off its head and spat it away from me. And ye, have ye ever made a liar lay out of it? Now, however, do I lay here, still exhausted with that biting and spitting away, still sick with mine own salvation. And ye looked on at it all. O mine animals, are ye also cruel? Do ye like to look at my great pain as men do? For man is the cruelest animal. At tragedies, bullfights, and crucifixions hath he hitherto been happiest on earth. And when he invented his hell, behold, that was his heaven on earth. When the great man crieth, immediately runneth the little man thither, and his tongue hangeth out of his mouth for every lusting. He, however, calleth it is his pity. The little man, especially the poet, how passionately doth he accuse life in words. Hearken to him, but do not fail to hear the delight which is all accusation. Such accusers of life, them, life overcometh with a glance of the eye. Thou lovest me, saith the insolent one. Wait a little, as yet I have no time for thee. Towards himself man is the cruelest animal, and in all who call themselves sinners and bearers of the cross and penitents, do not overlook the voluptuous in their plans and accusations. And I myself, do I thereby want to be man's accuser? Ha, mine animals, this only have I learned hitherto, that for man his baddest is necessary for his best. That all that is baddest is the best power, and the hardest stone for the highest creator, and that man must become better and badder. Not to this torture stake was I tied, that I know man is bad, but I cried as no one hath yet cried. Ha, that his baddest is so very small. Ha, that his best is so very small. The great disgust at man, it strangled me, and it had crept into my throat, and what the soothsayer had presaged, all is alike, nothing is worthwhile, knowledge strangleth. A long twilight limped on before me, a fatally weary, fatally intoxicated sadness which spake with a yawning mouth. Eternally he returneth, the man of whom thou art weary, the small man. So yawned my sadness, and dragged its foot, and could not go to sleep. A cavern became the human earth to me, its breast caved in, Everything living became to me human dust and paint, bones and moldering past. My sighing sat on all human graves, and could no longer arise. My sighing and questioning croaked and choked and gnawed and nagged day and night. Ha! Man returneth eternally, the small man returneth eternally. Naked had I once seen both of them, the greatest man and the smallest man, all too like one another, all too human, even the greatest man. All too small, even the greatest man. That was my disgust at man. And the eternal return, also, of the smallest man. That was my disgust to all existence. Ha! Disgust, disgust, disgust. Thus spake Zarathustra, and sighed and shuddered, for he remembered his sickness. Then did his animals prevent him from speaking further. Do not speak further, thou convalescent, so answered his animals, but go out where the world waiteth for thee like a garden. Go out unto the roses, the bees, and the flocks of doves, especially, however, unto the singing birds, to learn singing from them. For singing is for the convalescent. The sound ones may talk, and when the sound also wants songs, then want they other songs than the convalescent. O ye wags and barrel organs, do be silent, answered Zarathustra, and smiled at his animals. How well ye know what consolation I devised for myself in 7 days, that I have come to sing once more. That consolation did I devise for myself in this convalescence. Would ye also make another lyre lay thereof? Do not talk further, answered his animals once more. Rather, thou convalescent, prepare for thyself first a lyre, a new lyre. For behold, O Zarathustra, for thy new lays there are needed new lyres. Sing and bubble over, O Zarathustra, heal thy soul with new lays, that thou mayest bear thy great fate, which hath not yet been any one's fate. For thine animals know it well, O Zarathustra, who thou art and must become. Behold, thou art the teacher of the eternal return, that is now thy fate. That thou must be the first to teach this teaching. How could this great fate not be thy greatest danger and infirmity? Behold, we know what thou teachest, that all things eternally return in ourselves with them, that we have already existed times without number and all things with us. Thou teachest that there is a great year of a coming, a prodigy of a great year. It must, like a sandglass, ever turn up anew, that it may anew run down and run out. So that all those years are like one another in the greatest and also in the smallest, so that we ourselves in every great year are like ourselves in the greatest and also in the smallest. And if thou wouldst now die, O Zarathustra, behold, we know also how thou wouldst then speak to thyself. But thine animals beseech thee not to die yet. Thou wouldst speak, and without trembling, buoyant rather than with bliss, for a great weight and worry would be taken from thee, thou patientest one. Now do I die and disappear, wouldst thou say, and in a moment I am nothing. Souls are as mortal as bodies. But the plexus of causes returneth in which I am entwined, and will again create me. I myself pertain to the causes of the eternal return. I come again with this sun, with this earth, with this eagle, and with this serpent, not to a new life or a better life or a similar life. I come again, eternally, to this identical and self-same life, in its greatest and its smallest, to teach again the eternal return of all things. To speak again the word of the great noontide of earth and man, to announce again to man the Superman. I have spoken my word, I break down my word, so willeth mine eternal fate, as announcer do I succumb. The hour hath now come for the down-goer to bless himself. Thus endeth Zarathustra's down-going. And when the animals had spoken these words, they were silent and waited, so that Zarathustra may say something to them. But Zarathustra did not hear that they were silent. On the contrary, he lay quietly with closed eyes like a person sleeping, although he did not sleep, for he communed just then with his soul. The serpent, however, and the eagle, when they found him silent in such wise, respected the great stillness around him, and prudently retired. This one's an interesting one because it is talking about being hopeless, right? And it is not, in my estimation, even nearly true. I do believe that when you die, your soul goes somewhere, and that is what is intimated here. But what is intimated here is that you return here for the exact same choices, the exact same path, and I do not believe that. I believe that we are each here on our own independent timeline, right? Me and my wife, our timelines are aligned. We are traveling in concert together, but we are each on our own separate timelines. And when we are not together, we are doing different things. And while our goals are aligned in the same way, they're not necessarily making the same choices to get there. Other people are completely misaligned with me, and they're not in alignment with my timeline at all. They're doing their own thing in their own way. I believe that that is part of how we have the experience for the eternal. I believe that we are here to have experience for the eternal. I've talked about it before, and I will always talk about it. God is. God is me. He is you. He is the space between me and you, and He is the space between me and you. He is everything you can touch and everything that you cannot. He is every single thought that has ever been. I believe that there is an contingency plan for every single choice that you make. And if you make choice A, then the future goes in that direction. And if you make choice B, the future goes in that direction. And your timeline aligns with that particular choice. And it does not have to be aligned with God, but it should be. I believe that we can come together in our timelines in the way that me and my wife do, right? And me and other people have before we diverged. Again, new people will come in and we will converge for a while, and eventually we will diverge again because we are each on our individual journeys. We are each here to have a separate experience for the divine. There is no point in repeating that particular experience. Now, does that mean that you can't come back to it? I will not take that away, because in this choice you can make A or B, right? I believe that as such, when you make the choice for B, A still happens, but your consciousness doesn't follow along with it. Those things are slated to happen for someone else's timeline, and that's so that goes off and it happens in that way. And section B, where you choose, that is your timeline. That is the best, most optimum timeline for you, no matter which choice you are making. You have become an NPC in timeline A, but you are the PC in timeline B. You are the player character, the person making the choices, the soul making the individualized choices. But each of those contingencies, all of them, the many millions of myriads, all continue on in their own way, and you can probably visit those. But this one was the best one for you, and so you are choosing this one, and you are going forward. Whether or not it is actually the best is up to debate. That is a whole different theological debate, right? But I believe that it is going to work out the best for me on this timeline because I am aligned with God to the best of my ability. And so, I do not believe in the repeating pattern. But history doesn't repeat. It rhymes really well. There are continually these same old lessons to learn anew again, and you are stricken by amnesia when you choose to incorporate on this mortal plane in the fifth dimension. And you are going forward to the best of your ability here, and you are making that choice in self-determination here. But there are other choices, and you can visit those, right? Without getting too much deeper into that great theosophical question, which is God in philosophy. It is entirely possible that you can come back and visit, but I do not see the necessity of having to relive this particular existence. Making different choices, you've already done that. You've already gone off in a different direction on a different timeline, but it was not the optimum one. I believe that we will come back, however, that we are here for a short period of time to have these experiences in the mortal. We were never meant to be immortal. We will never achieve immortality in the flesh. But the soul, that part is eternal. It is a small, tiny sliver of God, here for an existence and an experience. And we are meant to take full advantage of that. Some of us choose not to, and then we have to come back and do it again. There are lessons that you are here to learn. Most of them were set for you by the time you were 7 or 8 years old. Most of your great challenges in your life come from that particular time period and before. You can go back and do the self-reflection. You will find that that is true. Those patterns repeat until you learn that lesson. So if you are born broke and you live your early life as broke, until you learn how to manage your money, you will continue to be broke. It is the same for all of the spiritual lessons. But each time that it repeats, because you did not learn the lesson, it gets a little bit more difficult. I believe that we are here to learn particular lessons. Mine, in particular, is dealing with sex. I'll just put it plainly and simply like that. I was molested as a child. I had a severely sexual upbringing, right? I had more partners by the age of 13 than most people have for the entirety of their life. That's not a brag. That was me failing the test. I am still on that challenge. I am still taking those challenges every day. But that was my challenge. And every time that I failed that challenge, it got a little bit harder to resist that challenge. And so I have, on my spiritual journey, had to learn how to deal with that. There are many of those choices, and if you do not listen to those choices, it gets worse each time. And if you don't learn it in this incarnation, then you have the chance to come back and learn it in another one. And it will be harder from the outset. That is in sum my philosophy on the eternity. It is extremely different than what he believed, right? Now, he was breaking free from the control systems. We talk about those often. And I am breaking free from a control system as well. He did it in the way that seemed logically consistent to him. He was here to learn lessons, but I don't believe that he ever actually learned the lessons. I think that he saw the lessons and was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I think that's what he says all the way through this, with his despondency repeated throughout this. Like, it is hard to find much writing more, not sinister is the wrong word, but the wrong oriented than what has been recorded here, right? He is telling you repeatedly things that are bound to lead you down if you actually believe them. And not the least of which is contained in this. All right, next up, the great longing. O my soul, I have taught thee to say today, as once on a time and formerly, and to dance thy measure over every here and there and yonder. O my soul, I deliver thee from all by places. I brush down from thee dust and spiders and twilight. O my soul, I wash the petty shame and the by-place virtue from thee, and persuaded thee to stand naked before the eyes of the sun. When the storm that is called spirit did I blow over thy surging sea, all clouds did I blow away from it. I strangled even the strangler called sin. O my soul, I gave thee the right to say nay, like the storm, and to say yea, as the open heaven saith yea. Calm as the light remainest thou, and now walkest through denying storms. O my soul, I restored to thee liberty over the created and uncreated, and who knoweth, as thou knowest, the voluptuousness of the future. O my soul, I taught thee the contempt which doth not come like worm-eating, the great, the loving contempt, which loveth most where it contempteth most. O my soul, I taught thee to persuade that thou persuadest even the grounds themselves to thee, like the sun which persuadeth even the sea to its height. O my soul, I have taken from thee all obeying and knee-bending and homage-paying. I have given thee the names, change of need, and fate. O my soul, I have given thee new names and gay-colored playthings. I have called thee fate, and the circuit of circuits, and the navel string of time, and the azure bell. O my soul, to thy domain gave I all wisdom to drink, all new wines, and also all immemorially old strong wines of wisdom. O my soul, every sun shed I upon thee, and every night, and every silence, and every longing. Then grewest thou up for me as a vine. O my soul, exuberant and heavy dost thou now stand forth, a vine with swelling udders and full clusters of brown, golden grapes, filled and weighted by thy happiness, waiting from superabundance, and yet ashamed of thy waiting. O my soul, there is nowheres a soul which could be more loving and more comprehensive and more extensive. Where could future and past be closer together than with thee? O my soul, I have given thee everything, and all my hands have become empty by thee. And now sayest thou to me, smiling and full of melancholy, which of us oweth thanks? Doth the giver not owe thanks because the receiver received? Is bestowing not a necessity? Is receiving not pitying? O my soul, I understand the smiling of thy melancholy. Thine overabundance itself now stretcheth out longing hands. Thy fullness looketh forth over raging seas, and seeketh and waiteth. The longing of overfullness looketh forth from the smiling heaven of thine eyes. And verily, O my soul, who could see thy smiling and not melt into tears? The angels themselves melt into tears through the over-graciousness of thy smiling. Thy graciousness and over-graciousness, it is it which will not complain and weep. And yet, O my soul, longeth thy smiling for tears, and thy trembling mouth for sobs. Is not all weeping complaining, and all complaining accusing? Thus speakest thou to thyself, and therefore, O my soul, wilt thou rather smile than pour forth thy grief? Then in gushing tears pour forth all thy grief concerning thy fullness, and concerning the craving of the vine for the vintager and vintage knife. But wilt thou not weep? Wilt thou not weep for thy purple melancholy? Wilt thou not have to sing, O my soul? Behold, I smile myself, who foretell thee this. Thou wilt have to sing with passionate song until all seas turn calm, to hearken unto thy longing. Until over calm longing seas the bark glideth, the golden marvel, around the gold which all good, bad, and marvelous things frisk. Also many large and small animals, and everything that hath light and marvelous feed, and that it can run on violet, blue paths. Towards the golden marvel, the spontaneous bark and its master, he, however, is the vintager, who waiteth with the diamond vintage knife. Thy great deliverer, O my soul, the nameless one for whom the future songs will only find names. And verily, already hath thy breath the fragrance of future songs. Already glowest thou and dreamest. Already drinkest thou thirstily at all deep echoing wells of consolation. Already reposeth thy melancholy in the bliss of future songs. O my soul, now I have given thee all, and even my last possession, and all my hands have become empty by thee, that I bade thee sing. Behold, that was my last thing to give. That which I bade thee sing, say, which of us now oweth thanks? Better still, however, sing unto me, O my soul, and let me thank thee. Thus spake Zarathustra. This one's a little complicated. I don't have a direct thing to pull out of this. This was about collecting knowledge and applying that knowledge to your life to change the direction of your life overall to the best of what I can pull out of it. Some of the details are fuzzy because, again, he was seeking but not finding. He was searching but never reaching that which he was searching for. He never actually got there. He was looking for something. He was looking for meaning in all of the learning. He was looking for meaning in the applications. He was looking for meaning in the day-to-day drudgery of life, and I'm not entirely sure that he found it. This was a lot of kind of nonsense, really, right? It was somewhat of an expression of gratitude, but somewhat of an expression of dissatisfaction, and mostly just seems like word vomit more than anything, right? There was not a whole lot of really to pull out of this for me. Now, you might have found something different in it, but for me, there was not a whole lot here that's worth consideration. So we're not going to consider it any longer. We'll go ahead and move on to the next little section here. The second dance song. Into thine eyes gazed I lately, O life. Gold saw I gleam in thy night eyes. My heart stood still with delight. A golden bark I saw gleam on darkened waters, a sinking, drinking, reblinking golden swing bark. At my dance frantic foot, dost thou cast a glance, a laughing, questioning, melting throne glance? Twice only moved thou thy rattle within thy little hands. Then did my feet swing with dance fury. My heels reared aloft, my toes they hearkened. Thee they would know. Hath not the dancer his ear in his toe? Unto thee did I spring, then fledst thou back from my bound, and towards me waved thy flying tresses round. Away from thee did I spring, and from thy snaky tresses. Then stoodst thou there, half turned, in thine eye caresses. With crooked glances dost thou teach me crooked courses. On crooked courses learn my feet crafty fancies. I fear thee near, I love thee far, thy flight allureth me, thy seeking secureth me. I suffer but for thee what I would not gladly bear. For thee, whose coldness inflameth, whose hatred misleadeth, whose flight enchaineth, whose mockery pleadeth. Who would not hate thee, thou great bindress, enwindress, temptress, secress, findress? Who would not love thee, thou innocent, impatient, wind-swift, child-eyed sinner? Whither pullest thou me now, thou paragon and tomboy? And now foolest thou me fleeing, thou sweet romp, dost annoy. I dance after thee, I follow even faint traces, lonely. Where art thou? Give me thy hand or thy finger only. Here are caves and thickets, we shall go astray. Halt, stand still. Seest thou not owls and bats in fluttering fray? Thou bat, thou owl, thou wouldst play me foul. Where are we? From the dogs hast thou learned thus to bark and howl. Thou gnashest on me sweetly with little white teeth. Thine evil eyes shoot out upon me, thy curly little mane from underneath. This is a dance over stock and stone. I am the hunter. Wilt thou be my hound or my chamois aimant? Now, beside me, and quickly, wickedly springing, now up and over, alas, I have fallen myself over swinging. Oh, see me lying, thou arrogant one, and imploring grace. Gladly would I walk with thee in some lovelier place, in the paths of love through bushes variegated, quiet, trim, or there along the lake where gold fishes dance and swim. Thou art now aweary, there above are sheep and sunset stripes. Is it not sweet to sleep, the shepherd pipes? Thou art so very weary, I will carry thee thither. Let just thine arm sink. And art thou thirsty? I should have something, but thy mouth would not like it to drink. Oh, that cursed nimble supple serpent and lurking witch, where art thou gone? But in my face do I feel thy hands 2 spots and red blotches itch. I am verily weary of it, ever thy sheepish shepherd to be, thou which, if I have hitherto sung unto thee, now shalt thou cry unto me. To the rhythm of my whip shalt thou dance and cry, I forget my whip, not I. Then did life answer me thus, and kept thereby her fine ears closed. O Zarathustra, crack not so terribly with thy whip. Thou knowest surely that noise killeth thought, and just now there came to me such delicate thoughts. We are, both of us, genuine ne'er-do-wells and never-do-ills. Beyond good and evil found we our island and our green meadow, we two alone. Therefore must we be friendly to each other. And even should we not love each other from the bottom of our hearts, must we then have a grudge against each other if we do not love each other perfectly? And that I am friendly to thee, and often too friendly, that knowest thou, and the reason is that I am envious of thy wisdom. Ah, this mad old fool wisdom! If thy wisdom should one day run away from thee, then would also my love run away from thee quickly. Thereupon did Life look thoughtfully behind and around, and said softly, O Zarathustra, thou art not faithful enough to me. Thou lovest me not nearly so much as thou sayest. I know thou thinkest of leaving me, of soon leaving me. There is an old, heavy, booming clock. It boometh by night up to thy cave. And when thou hearest this clock strike the hours at midnight, then thinkest thou between 1 and 12 thereon. Thou thinkest thereon, O Zarathustra, I know it of soon leaving me. Yea, answered I hesitatingly, but thou knowest it also. And I said something into her ear, and amongst her confused, yellow, foolish tresses. Thou knowest that, O Zarathustra? That knoweth no one. And we gazed at each other and looked at the green meadow over which the cool evening was just passing, and we wept together. Then, however, was life dearer unto me than all my wisdom had ever been. Thus spoke the Zarathustra. 3. 1. O man, take heed. 2. What saith deep midnight's voice indeed? 3. I slept my sleep. 4. From deepest dream I woke and plead. 5. The world is deep. 6. And deeper than the day could read. 7. Deep is its woe. 8. Joy, deeper than grief can be. 9. Woe saith, hence, go. 10. But joy's all one eternity. 11. Want deep, profound eternity. 12. This one is interesting because it could be directed towards a person, or it could be directed towards life. Now, on the surface, it appears to be directed towards life, right? That's the second part intimates that it is life. But the first part makes me feel that it was a person, not just a person, but probably a woman of more masculine appearance, probably a woman who was almost male, right? We have women like that. People are born the way that they're born, and even then, people were born the way that they were born. And I have a strong suspicion that Nietzsche liked them a little bit dangly, right? He didn't like the innies, he liked the outies, and possibly this person kind of resembled an outie. Possibly the secret of which he was talking was her liking women, right? That is most likely a thing, and that's why love could not be quite like it needed to be. There is a possibility that they attempted it and it didn't work out quite right, and there was some heartbreak, and so that's what this is about, and that's what I am going to take from it, because it does seem to be that way. Now, you can look at it on the surface level, like life, and of course, that's like life is an experience. You are here to experience the life. You are here to embrace it. It says that he's leaving, right? Leaving life or leaving her. Either way, there is price to be paid for that. He is melancholy. That is abundantly clear. He is prone to bouts of depression, probably manic depressiveness, and that has been also shown quite clearly throughout these 3 sections. And so it is entirely possible that he was having depressive thoughts about life, but it could also be that he was leaving this person who was the one person that he had any resemblance to whatsoever. And so that's where I'm going to leave that one. Again, this is not something that is as self-evident as it might appear to be. And so I can only make guesses and assumptions at it, right? It doesn't leap out at me as the way that some of the other ones did. And I try to shy away from the things that aren't necessarily that clear to me, because that is obviously not somebody speaking to me. But that is what I get from that. It does appear like the tomboy, right? Why would time be a tomboy? Why would it have golden tresses? Why would it have a secret? It's more than likely that he had a secret and he shared it with her. The 7 seals, or the yea and amen lay. Yea and amen lay. If I be a diviner and full of divining spirit, which wandereth on high mountain ridges twixt 2 seas, wandereth twixt the past and the future as a heavy cloud, hostile to sultry plains, and to all that is weary and can neither die nor live. ready for lightning in its dark bosom, and for the redeeming flash of light, charged with lightnings which say, yea, which laugh, yea, ready for divining flashes of lightning. Blessed, however, is he who is thus charged, and verily, long must he hang like a heavy tempest on the mountain, who shall one day kindle the light of the future. Oh, how could I not be ardent for eternity and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return, that is self-deletion. Like going home, right? And if you're doing it on purpose, that is self-deletion. Never have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. 2. If ever my wrath hath birthed graves, shifted landmarks, or rolled old shattered tables into precipitous depths, if ever my scorn hath shattered mouldered words to the wind, and if I have come like a besom to cross spiders, and as a cleansing wind to old charnel houses, if ever I have sat rejoicing where old gods lie buried, world blessing, world loving, besides the monument of the old world malingerers. For even churches and God's graves do I love, if only heaven looketh through their ruined roofs with pure eyes. Gladly do I sit like grass and red poppies on ruined churches. Oh, how could I not be ardent for eternity and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never yet have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity, that death. If ever a breath have come to me of the creative breath, and of the heavenly necessity which compelleth even chances to dance star dances, if ever I have laughed with the laughter of the creative lightning, to which the long thunder of the deed followeth, grumblingly but obediently, if ever I have played dice with the gods at the divine table of the earth, so that the earth quaked and ruptured and snorted forth fire streams. For a divine table is the earth, and trembling with new creative dictums and dice cast of the gods. Oh, how could I not be ardent for eternity, and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never yet have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. 4. If ever I have drunk a full draught of the foaming spice and confection bowl, in which all things are well mixed, if ever my hand hath mingled the furthest with the nearest, fire with spirit, joy with sorrow, and the harshest with the kindest, I am, if I myself am, a grain of the saving salt, which maketh everything in the confection bowl mix well. For there is a salt which uniteth good with evil, and even the evilest is worthy, as spicing and as final over foaming. Oh, how could I not be ardent for eternity, and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never yet have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. 5. If I be fond of the sea, and all that is sea-like, and fondest of it when it angrily contradicteth me, if the exploring delight be in me, which impelleth sails to the undiscovered, if the seafarer's delight be in my delight, if ever my rejoicing hath called out, the shore hath vanished, now hath fallen from me the last chain. The boundless roareth around me, far away sparkle for me space and time. Well, cheer up, old heart, for how could I not be ardent for eternity, and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. 6. If my virtue be a dancer's virtue, and if I have often sprung with both feet into golden emerald rapture, if my wickedness be a laughing wickedness at home among the rosebanks and hedges of lilies, for in laughter is all evil present, but it is sanctified and absolved by its own bliss. And if it be my Alpha and Omega that everything heavy shall become light, every body a dancer, and every spirit a bird, and verily that is my Alpha and Omega. Oh, how could I not be ardent for eternity and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children unless it be this woman whom I love. For I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. 7. If ever I have spread out a tranquil heaven above me, and have flown into mine own heaven with mine own pinions, if I have swum playfully in profound luminous distances, and if my freedoms of avian wisdom hath come to me, thus, however, speaketh avian wisdom. Lo, there is no above and no below. Throw thyself about, outward, backward, thou light one. Sing, speak no more. Are not all words made for the heavy? Do not all words lie to the light ones? Sing, speak no more. For how could I not be ardent for eternity, and for the marriage ring of rings, the ring of the return? Never have I found the woman by whom I should like to have children, unless it be this woman whom I love, for I love thee, O eternity. For I love thee, O eternity. And that is the end of the third part. And here we have, once again, him expressing his displeasure with life, right? He loves the things of life, but he is lamenting the fact that he has not found the woman that he loves, except for the one that we have just recently met, who was a little bit masculine and who spurned his advances, right? That was my interpretation of the last one before I even read this one, and now it is hammered home even more. It seems to be that he is quite dissatisfied with the way that his life has turned out. He is closer to my age than he is to the age of my children by this point, and he has been through quite a lot. He has been betrayed by friends. He has been isolated into himself. He has been exploring the world. But for the most part, it has been lonely. He ran into someone with whom he was actually attracted. It was a woman with masculine features. And things didn't quite work out the way that he thought it would. Maybe things didn't work out, and maybe things didn't work out. But whatever it was, things didn't work out. And so he's like, well, there was only this one person that I have ever been attracted to, and it appears that it's not going to work out. So give me eternity. That's what this seems to be to me. It is a man lamenting for what he wants from life, which is death. That's terrible. To look forward to death in that way sucks. I've been there. I have been in a depressive state. I've talked about it several times, and I'm sure we will talk about it again, but I have tried to end myself. It is not worth it. There is so much more out there that you can find somewheres out there. It will turn around. You will have a better day. You should not ever self-delete. But I can commiserate with the wanting to. It can be hard down here. I believe that we are meant to walk through the hard with just as much equanimity as we walk through the pleasurable. You're supposed to partake in both of them. You're not supposed to isolate yourself from the hard or the not so hard. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Don't long for death. Eternity may not turn out the way that you want it to. And I say that knowing full well, in my heart, I do not believe in the control systems, right? He didn't believe in the control systems either, but he didn't know what was coming. I have at least a guess. It could be completely wrong, but it is what has been revealed to me. When you go home, you just get the option if you want to come back. I believe that we are here voluntarily, and that the pain is part of the pleasure. Without the pain, you wouldn't know the pleasure. In the same way that you don't know what it's like to be really full unless you have been really hungry. You do not understand the light unless you have walked through the darkness. Like, you can live your whole life in the darkness, but you'll never really understand it unless you have been without it. The despondency here probably led him into finding some things that he probably shouldn't have found. The latter years of his life, after the 4th section, and even the 5th, I think there's 5 or maybe 6 of them, but not all of them get out, was most likely, like the end of his life. It appears that he had vascular dementia, which is a terrible thing. You forget how to. Your body doesn't necessarily do that. Like, some dementias, your body forgets how to move, and some dementias, it forgets how to breathe and to eat or whatever. And vascular dementia is forgetting how to really think and do. Like my father-in-law just went through it. He just recently passed from it, and you see this flag back here, that's his. He forgot how to walk. He forgot how to move, but he could think all the way up until the end. He couldn't articulate it. His mouth didn't work correctly. His legs didn't work correctly. But he was fully aware of things, and it sucks for him. I hate that. I cannot imagine a worse way to go than slowly deteriorating while you're in full capability of your mind. It is better to have regular Alzheimer's and to forget everything. Forget all of the people and forget all of the times than it is to go through and know and not be able to do. That is one of my worst fears. That appears to be how he wound up at the end, was through vascular dementia. And that is before we had the official diagnosis for it, so we only had the symptoms of it. But I'm here to tell you something, and you do not have to believe this. On the path to enlightenment, well onto the path of enlightenment, you get access to a switch. It is inside of you, and you get the disconnect. You can remove yourself, the individualized decision-making part, from the meat suit. You get that. That is one of the things that you get, and you do not have to return. But if you are not in accordance with the 8 laws of creation, and if you are not doing things in the correct manner, you can have severe repercussions. You can not attach yourself back correctly, and it can cause all kinds of problems. Some of those problems is insensibility. You will not be able to function. Your body will lay there in a coma for the rest of your life. Some of it is the inability to cognate or to think. You must be extremely careful with that switch. It is there for a reason. It is there for a purpose, and you can use it for this purpose. But if you do not know what you are doing, you can hurt yourself more than just merely going home. And that's where I'm going to leave that. You don't have to believe that. I know that in a way that I know that this is going to come on if I have electricity, right? I can hit the button and it's going to turn on. I know that with certainty. As long as there's electricity to this house and there's nothing wrong with this equipment, I can hit that button and have no problems with this TV screen coming on. But if something is out of alignment in it, it will mess up. If the power's not on, if the buttons don't work, or whatever. I know with a certainty that you have that switch because I have used that switch, but it has been in extreme cases where I have had a specific purpose. I achieved that purpose as quickly as possible, and I reattached myself in the proper manner, and you will not get that right away. You should not attempt that until you are in mastery of several of the things. Go back and read or rewatch some of these playlists if you have, and watch them for the first time if you have not. Go through the Infinite Integrations playlist in its entirety. And by entirety, I mean take out the MBTI parts that are not relevant to you, but all of the rest of it. Make sure you understand the things that I am talking about before you attempt any of this, most especially flipping that switch. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment, not too much confusion, to a series of somewhat difficult topics. We are wrapping up part 3. We will be back with part 4. And if you have something that you would like to see on the back side of part 4, let me know down below, because I am here to help the crew find the things that they want to find. If any of this intrigues you in a way that you would like to see more, definitely let me know. If you like what I'm doing down here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw me a comment if you agree or disagree. If it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. And if you really like what I'm doing here, hit me with that super thanks, because I am not a communist. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way that you are, and this has been Pitt's Take. Peace.